just sitting in. Been a few mosquitoes in the office lately. And remember, you can move, but move in the spirit of somebody who's trying to relax. Now today, I'd like to talk to you about, a little bit more expansively, about the Philtrum Stare. And this has a lot of different names for this basic exercise, but if you'll recall, I've discussed the nerve ganglion that you find behind your upper front teeth between the palate and the nasal cavity. This is the button. If a boxer really punches you there, your lights go out. And tongue pressing up against there has a few interesting functions that I've discussed once, but I'll discuss further in class. But for now, what I'd like to teach you is a type of sensory input called the Philtrum Stare. This is your Philtrum. And it's funny, it was said that General Alexander Haig had one of the most beautiful philtrums around. Believe it or not, the philtrum changes as you age. And they think the evolutionary purpose of it was to be able to expand and contract nerves depending on the shape of your face over time. Makes sense to me, but a lot of things make sense that aren't so. But that might be. But in this case, what I'd like to do is I'd like you to focus your energy here. You can tap it if you want to, but I'm not encouraging that. Just, I want you to think of this space. Think of this space hard, and the actual meditative exercise is to try and observe the room through this small patch of skin. So what we'll do is we'll start, and after a little while, I'll verify some experiences that you might have in the interim and see if there's a way to make sense of what is a very nonsensical suggestion, which is to look at the room, not through your eyes. Keep your eyes closed if your trust allows, but to stay focused on here and let this experience the entire room. So I'll shut up for a few moments and let's see how that goes. And if you discover the first thing you want to do is to itch your philtrum, try and hold off for just a few moments. Just try. If you can't do it, you can't do it. That's all right. Another normal response when you're learning Philtrum Stare is for your in breaths and out breaths to be suddenly much more perceptible here. And it helps if you have a flavor saver, but if you don't, it can still be a little bit distracting because we're not accustomed to thinking of breath entering around here. We're very used to it here, but when we finally start paying attention to what's going on here, it can be just a tad disruptive, and that's the point. And go ahead and thinking of viewing things through your philtrum. Look at the corner of the wall farthest away from you without opening your eyes. See if you can picture it. See if you can imagine it. See if you can hallucinate it getting closer to you. And if you need coaching on how to breathe through this, go ahead and take your deep in breath as though you are regularly meditating. And take your time with the out breath and feel the out breath go out through your philtrum. sometimes when you're rearranging your perspective with your eyes closed. First of all, that allows for more activity. Go around here in the alpha center of the brain where your alpha waves, wavelength frequency thoughts occur. And it's very sensitive to light. So you'll feel, I know there's a lamp here, I know there's a lamp there. I'm very aware of their positioning when I do this. And it can tighten your chest just a little bit sometimes, just for anxiety, if that's an issue of yours and you feel a little tightness of breath while you're trying this. That's absolutely within normal specs. I mean, it's to be expected out of a certain percentage of people who are learning. So don't fight it, feel it. You're not gonna die, you're not having a heart attack, you're not even close. You're just building through a type of anxiety that tends to reveal itself when it's not distracted by light. Return to the breath. Return to the Philtrum Stare. It's easy to stop doing it without your knowledge. Some people have described it as the removal of a Band-Aid in terms of the freshness of the skin. That has always been there, but you've just noticed it due to this exercise. And remember, because we are localizing our thoughts to a part of our physical body, the rest of our body will want to get some of the same attention. So itches may be a little bit more pronounced than they normally are, or a sore knee, or whether your butt got situated properly when you sat in. These things will all come to your attention as a result of you focusing through the Philtrum. They are, again, easy to cast aside as hindrances, but don't let them completely hinder you from exploring the Philtrum exercise. If you have to scratch to get to it, go ahead. Ease back into your regular breathing. Thank your Philtrum for doing this work for you. And as you breathe normally, let's say even a count +1, how does the room feel? Is it the same as it was? Until our final bell, let's think about that. Let's try to observe what it is we are perceiving. If you're like most people, the return to just the breath feels a little differently. And when you've peaked, you may not have noticed that whatever lamps or corners you were looking at may be a slightly different place than you thought they were. It's a very good exercise in prajna. In my hallucination, I had changed this corner into something where the walls were a little bit further before the window. And the lamp that I have here, I actually had marked in my mind as being a little bit over here. These are normal things. It's how to hallucinate while meditating. And yeah, you can devote a sit to it, and then that sit is not necessarily the standard Vipassana sit. It is closely related to Vipassana meditation, but ultimately the insight you gain from this, you gain after the entire sit. So you're kind of sacrificing one of your sits for this sensory input. And that's an important concept to remember, because especially early on as we meditate, we'll find that we're in the middle of a bad sit. Sometimes that's just all there is to be said about it. And you endure it. It doesn't change your relationship to meditation. It just means I've actually sat twice in a row to get rid of a bad sit. And I've done that a few times. I would say most of the time it's unsuccessful. If I have a bad sit, it's probably because of where my mind is. And so to be able to kind of slow down and get back into the breathing, it's more sophisticated when you come back. This is why we talk about meditation isn't necessarily the existence of a clear mind. It's returning to clarity after you found that you've drifted. This is one of the better working definitions of meditation I've had. And I hope it's of value to you. Thanks for joining me.